There is nothing in my career to date that has really stands out as much as being able to put on that spacesuit, open the hatch to outer space and to just drop down into the black abyss and then to be working outside and looking down at the beautiful planet Earth beneath you in one direction and then over the other shoulder looking out to the infinite universe and the stars of the Milky Way. Those hours on the spacewalk will just live with me forever. When I was at school, becoming an astronaut really wasn't on the agenda at all. In fact, it was interesting because we didn't even have a career path to be able to take to become an astronaut. Helen Sharman, our first British astronaut, she flew in 1991 to the Mir space station, but it was a one-off mission. We didn't even have a space agency. And it was something that we seemed to watch the Russians and the Americans doing, but it wasn't a goal that was even open to us. So my focus was on aviation, and I had a route to become a military pilot. I also had a route to study aeronautical engineering at university, and I think that was the first big decision for me to take was which route am I going to take? And I ended up going down the army route earlier, sooner rather than later, after achieving my A levels in maths, physics, and chemistry, and then going to Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst to become an army officer and a pilot. And that was a big decision to not go to university at that point. But as it turned out later in life, I was able to gain a degree in flight dynamics as I was going through my test pilot training. So I think the lesson there is, it's never too late to go and achieve goals that you might think that you've missed out early in life. It's hugely influential to look down on the planet in terms of your perspective, in terms of how you appreciate the environment that we live in. Because when you're in space and you're separated by a few sheets of glass from certain death of the vacuum of space, a high radiation environment, incredibly powerful solar events, for example, and you realize that planet beneath you is doing everything to protect life on Earth. And it's an incredibly thin atmosphere. And every time you see a sunrise or a sunset, we see just how thin that atmosphere is, just 16 kilometers worth of gas, that differentiates Earth from Venus or Mars or other planets that simply can't support life. And so it does change your perspective. And it also makes you realize how isolated we are against this vast black backdrop of space. We all need to work together. We share the same atmosphere. And it's a very fragile environment in terms of supporting life here. So we do need to work together to protect it and to make Earth, a clean, sustainable place for future generations to live. So I don't know any astronauts who haven't been changed by witnessing that view. For me, I think I would go back to my younger self and say, have the confidence to just go for it and grasp these opportunities and don't be afraid of failure. I would also say, not to worry so much about the decisions that you make. I mean, every time you make a decision, it is important, but I think it's also important to realize that there are multiple ways of achieving your goals and your aims. You can always go back and you can revisit things, you can improve your skills, you can improve your qualifications. And that was certainly the case for me.